Good evening and welcome to the VRG Virtual Cup. This is the Vintage Racer Group's Virtual Racer League. Tonight we have Season 4, Race 5, the VRG Virtual Cup from Road Atlanta. My name is Jim Karamanis and I will be providing you your play-by-play for the evening. And I'm joined into the booth by regular VRL racer Mac McCormack. Mac, welcome to the booth.
Hey Jim, thanks for inviting me here. This looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining. It's always good to have some company here. Ian, who usually does these broadcasts, was indisposed tonight, and I know that you were traveling, and it was very generous of you to be able to jump in and join me in the booth in your spare time. And Steve Ficacci, who normally joins Ian in the booth, is jumped into a race car tonight, so we're going to get to see his prowess on the track.
That's great. This is a fabulous track, this Road Atlanta. I've never raced here in the real world, but I have flagged here several times, so I know the track. And I did test in anticipation of doing this race with you guys, but so I am familiar with the track, and I really liked it.
So what sort of events have you flagged at Road Atlanta, Mac?
I've flagged the AARC, and I've flagged Petit Le Mans. I think that's pretty much it. But all in kind of endurance type stuff.
Petit's an endurance race of what, 6 hours? Is that right? 4 or 6 hours?
I think it's. I thought it was 12, but I don't know. It was a long time ago that we did it. I don't remember. I think it was 12 hours though.
I guess when you're standing at the corner and you're not in a car and you're waving flags, it can seem like a long time.
Definitely a long time. Yeah, I remember we were at turn 3, and one of our stations was actually across track, and there's no way to cross the track there during a 12-hour race. So the people on the other side were stuck there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was a long day, but it's a very cool track, fast track.
So this is the first time the VRL has visited Road Atlanta. We've been trying to move the events around. We've kept to our core events, which the VRG races at in the real world, and the last race was at Watkins Glen, which preceded our real world event at Watkins Glen. This week we've come to Road Atlanta for the first time. We don't normally race at Road Atlanta in the real world, but it was very popular among the racers, and everyone wanted to make a visit here, so here we are.
Yeah, it's great. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a very technical track, but it's also a very fast track. So I think we're going to see some good racing tonight.
Well, it's looking like we're going to have a pretty good turnout. We've got some new racers in the league joining us. Scott Krieger, who I believe joined last week, is back. And Mike Kelly has joined the league.
Yeah.
I also see that Jeff Simon has joined the league, who I believe is a cousin of Toby Yurko.
That's great to get more drivers involved in our series. I think it's really good.
Absolutely, and if you're a friend or relative of a VRG driver and you want to participate in the league, we'd love to talk to you. Send me an email. It's jim@vrgonline.org. We'll help you get set up. So, Matt, can you tell us a little bit from your experience what it takes to get going in this virtual world?
For iRacing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I came into it completely cold back in, I don't know, when did we start?
I think it was April.
It was back April? Yeah, about April. And I'd never had a computer game or any of that stuff. So I actually started out practicing using my mouse. I did that primarily because I wanted to make sure that my internet connection was sufficient, that I could actually run iRacing, and it worked, and it was kind of hard to steer with a mouse. And then eventually, with your help, I got a second-hand controller wheel wheel and pedals, and it's a big learning curve. It's not that easy, but but it is fun. It really is fun, and the simulation is unbelievable. It's so realistic. It's just incredible. It's got everything you can imagine except for G-forces. As you can see from the video, the reproduction of the track is just phenomenal. It's so accurate, and they're all laser scanned, so they're accurate right down to the bumps in the road. It's amazing.
So, Mac, how many years of real-world racing did you have before you entered the virtual racing world?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I did some racing early on in the late '80s for a couple of years, and then got sidetracked with work, and then got back into it. I guess around 2003. So I've been racing since then.
So you've been racing quite a while. What are the main differences you see from someone that's accustomed to the real world jumping into the virtual world? What's the most shocking change?
It's well, you don't have all the cues. I mean, when you're in a real car, you have the what we call the butt accelerometer, which kind of tells you what the car is doing with respect to sliding around and G-forces and braking and acceleration and lateral G's and all. You don't have that, so you have to rely a lot on your visual cues. And I think it's actually helped me to pay more attention to the visual cues. But if you have a really good imagination and you have raced on the track before, when you do this, you can kind of add a lot of what's missing. And you can and at a track that you really know, like let's say the uphill and the downhill at Lime Rock, you can really almost feel the car going uphill and downhill. It's that realistic. It's quite amazing. And you have to hit your marks to get in a good lap. You got to hit every apex. You got to track out to the track out area. And if you watch some of our faster drivers, you can see they're using the whole track. And so all the things you need to do as a driver in the real world, you have to do in sim racing to put together a good fast lap.
But with less inputs.
With less inputs.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So most of the tracks we've raced at as part of the Virtual Racer League, you have raced at in the real world.
Yes.
And so what's that like, going from the real world to the virtual track? I mean, does it feel like you're at the same place? Does it drive in a similar fashion?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it very much does. The fact that we're using these Skippy cars, which have speeds about similar to our vintage racers, I think that helps. In the beginning, when we started with the GT3 cars, those cars are like twice as fast as our average vintage racer, and things were coming up really fast in those cars. So I mean, I really had to get used to that. But I find with the Skippy car, it's very, very similar to what we do in our vintage cars, and it's fun to drive an open wheel car.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
You got great visibility. I mean, I had some trouble in the closed cars, especially since I was only using a single screen. I had trouble seeing some of the apexes. On the tracks that I was familiar with, I mean, I knew where they are, so that helped. But on an unfamiliar track, it was tough. But with the open car, you have much better visibility.
So last week at Watkins Glen, it was the first time that I had raced in person at a track that I had only raced virtually. All of my experiences had been the opposite before that, and I was amazed how familiar the real-world circuit felt to me after the hundreds of laps on iRacing. The most shocking thing to me, though, was how much elevation change there was at Watkins Glen. That's something that my triple screen setup at home didn't emulate that well.
Yeah.
I was almost ducking when I was going up the climbing S's the first time.
That's interesting because I know that track. I mean, it just felt completely natural to me, and I felt like that I knew the elevation change because I had been there.
Right.
So it didn't really seem flat to me, and it just shows you that your imagination has a lot to do with what you can get out of this iRacing business.
Absolutely. It also taught me that it is a great learning tool because I was quite immediately up to speed on a track I'd never been to in real life, which was pretty strange, honestly, because I've been racing for over 10 years and have been track driving for 20, and I'd never experienced anything like that before.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really encouraging. I mean, I'm really looking forward to going back next year in the real world and just seeing what the difference is and what benefit I can derive from the iRacing and using it in real racing.
Well, it's certainly proved to me that it's an excellent tool for getting yourself ready for the real track. And like you said, my experiences have been that the way the car handles and the way you correct it are very, very close to the real thing. It's absolutely unbelievable, to be frank. You can throttle steer. You can steer with a steering wheel. You can feel the lockup on the brakes. It's almost a little bit eerie how good it is on something that, really is what, $100 a year for a subscription. It's pretty outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, compared to real racing, it's a real bargain.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, that's how you can justify getting all the equipment needed to do this when you lose a whole season.
Well, right, and it's so many of us lost so many real world races that the iRacing turned into a little bit of an arms race with everyone upgrading their game, and when you look at the big picture, everything that I personally put into this rig is still less than probably a single race weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Puts it all in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, hopefully my wife's not listening to this.
Yeah. Well, with regard to the arms race, I ordered a VR headset.
Oh, good for you.
Which should come by the time I get back home. So.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear how that goes.
Yeah, I talked a lot to Ian, and also I talked to Steve and Dave Fitzgerald, Steve Ficacci and Dave Fitzgerald, both of whom use it.
Yeah.
And they swear by it. So I'm just hoping I don't have any nausea issues. We'll see. Apparently that can happen when you first get into it because it's so realistic.
Yeah.
But I guess you get used to it and it's not such a problem.
A good friend of mine has one, and I jumped out of an airplane, which my boss at work just loves because she's trying to get me to jump out of airplanes in the real world. She's a former airborne trooper, and I've told her that I'll jump out of an airplane with her if she rides in my race car. So we're at a stalemate. So I tried it virtually, and I was pretty nauseated.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, prove to me I don't want to do it for real.
Yeah, Ian was telling me that when he first put his on and spun the car, he almost fell out of his chair. So it's I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a whole nother dimension. So is this looks like is everybody here now?
Well, it looks like we've got 14 listed. One of them is me because I couldn't figure out how to work the new iRacing interface to just watch. So we've got 13 racers on the track, and hopefully a few more are going to join here.
Oh, there's another one. Dave Curtis just clocked in. Yeah, it's always interesting to watch people pick up speed as the practice goes on. It takes a while. And this track with these, with so many, blind apexes, and I mean, there's some parts of the track you can't even see where the track goes. It goes over the hill and it disappears. It really takes a while to get used to where you are.
Yeah, having previous experience on this track is pretty much a deal breaker for being fast.
Yeah.
If you haven't had any laps before tonight, it will be very difficult to be on pace. But the majority of our fast guys here have had a lot of laps at this track. And I see Jeff Simon is one of our newcomers is already up to third.
Yeah, look at that.
Just a half second off of Stefan Vapa's time, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is good.
Don LeBayer, always very quick in practice, also in the 38s. Darren Treacle, I don't think has done a full lap yet, but I imagine he'll be up to speed pretty quickly here. And I believe Steve Ficacci is planning to join, so we should see him near the front as well. Looks like we'll have 3-4 really quick guys battling it out. And
already those times are pretty close, aren't they?
They are.
Top 5.
And Bob Lang's usually pretty quick. He should be in the thick of it there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Kelly, I know he hasn't raced for quite a while. This is sort of his comeback to iRacing. Mike is now organizing the modern group at the Turkey Bowl for us.
Oh, good.
Great to see him out there.
Yeah, I know Mike from flagging days. He was a DC region flagger.
Yes.
As well as a racer. So
I believe he's still doing that as well.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, last year he did his first SCCA runoffs in his HP Volkswagen.
Yeah, he's really gotten into the real racing end of things, which is great. I guess this is Kurt here.
Yeah, it's Kurt Uzbey.
Yep, so he's joined us now.
Who has a beautiful collection of vintage race cars.
Yeah, he really does. That D-Jag replica is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. Here's Toby. And
that's the tricky part of this track right there, turn 3.
Well, and that's also the cameraman's curse, right? As soon as you zoom in on someone, sorry about that, Toby. I'm really good at zapping people like that.
But you come up over that hill and you can't even tell which way the track goes until you learn it cold and you have it in your memory. It's really, really spooky the first time you go up over that hill.
There's not a lot of visual cues there either. It's you almost have to feel it.
Well, I found that I could pick some trees on the horizon to sort of get me lined up pretty good, and that helped a lot. Oh, got somebody off in the wall there. Oh, here's Darren. Darren's on track now.
Yeah, it looks like that was Bob Lang who went off. Jeff Simon had an off as well. Oh, there's Bob. Yeah, so that must have been Jeff earlier. Stefan's about to dip into the 37s here.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Last week at Watkins Glen, he brought out his historic Formula Ford for the first time. And we had been practicing the week before virtually. And he's pretty much turning identical lap times between his historic Formula Ford and the Skip Barber 2000.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was sort of watching, using Speed Hive, looking at some of the live timing during the VRG event at Watkins Glen this weekend, and he started out very very carefully, very conservatively, and you could just watch him building up the speed on the speed charts. It's really interesting. And of course, it was an all-new car for him.
Yeah, well, he had just spent the last 2 years building it. It was a very impressive showing. I think he was pretty much top 4 all weekend. Top 4,
Yeah.
top 5.
And of course, he's used to a front-drive car, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit different.
Well, and the historic 4s are generally not the cars you expect to see towards the front because they're older technology. Usually
Right.
you expect to see the Club Fords up there. So Darren's slowly snaking his way up. He's up to 9th.
Yeah, I see it.
Looks like Dave Fitzgerald has joined and has slid his way in the 10th.
Yeah, it takes a while to kind of shake the rust off and just get used to the track, and we'll see them. We'll see everyone actually picking up time as practice goes on.
And the car, I know Darren Treacle and Dave Fitzgerald both race in other leagues in sedans, so they don't really get to do a lot of the practice sessions that we do in these Skippies. So when they jump into practice here, it really is practice for them. They're starting from scratch.
Well, they're used to a much faster car with more brakes and more everything.
More everything, yeah.
Yeah, more traction. That's for sure. These Skippy cars like to slide, and they're really fun to drive for that reason. I find it.
Yeah, and these wings and spoilers, I don't think they do a darn thing.
Yeah, I think they're window dressing.
Yeah, there's absolutely no downforce on this car. And there's been a few times where one of us has knocked the front or rear off, and we go just as fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes some guys claim you can go faster if you can knock the wing off correctly, without busting the car.
Right. It's just drag.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you really found out what downforce feels like when we drove the Lotus 79 at Spa.
Yeah, that was a very different experience.
That was amazing.
It's certainly like nothing I've ever driven in the real world.
Yeah.
Now these cars, the draft is really a big deal. So you'll see them following each other very closely, and oftentimes at the end of a race, the guy who's second is sitting in the catbird seat. So it can make for some interesting racing.
Yeah, I just saw what looked like a little nose cone come off and go rolling down the track. So I'm not sure who that came off of. We'll have to keep an eye on some of the cars. Just losing that nose cone is worth almost 10 miles per hour on this long straight.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you don't necessarily know that you've lost it because you can't see it.
No. But all of a sudden, hey, the car's not going as fast as it used to.
Can be frustrating when you're trying to figure out what you're now doing incorrectly.
Yeah.
So we're 31 minutes in, and if I remember correctly, we should be going for an hour in practice.
Yep.
And then we'll be kicking off qualifying at 9 o'clock and a 40-minute race at 9:20.
Yep. Well, I see that John Wood and Dave Curtis have moved up.
Yeah, John Wood has jumped up quite a bit, actually. Top 5 now, and Dave Curtis up to 4th. All these times very close together, though. See Steffen's in the 37s, and then 2 and 3 are very close, and then, gosh, 4th through 8th are really just right on top of each other. That should make for some really entertaining racing.
Yeah, I think we'll have a good race here. If we can get through turn 1. Well, turn 1 here is wide. There's no doubt about it.
It is, and
There's lots of room, and it's uphill, so you get a little bit more grip. So, but then when you get to turn 3, all bets are off.
Well, now that you say it, I honestly don't remember if I scheduled this to be a standing start or pace laps. So I guess they'll find out when the race starts. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be paced because normally you have to manually set it to do the standing start. So sorry about that, guys. During the practice race the other night, it was a standing start. So this will be fun to watch because they have no idea it's coming.
Well, you can really see how the cars slide around a bit. The idea is not to slide them too much because that scrubs off a lot of speed.
Yeah, let's see if we can go on board with Darren here and give you a little bit of the inside visual effect. This is a roll bar cam.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the view up higher up from the roll bar. A little bit different from what the driver's seeing. This is the big brake zone. And yet you can carry a ton of speed through there too. I mean, it's quite remarkable. And this is, whoa, over the top and down this hill. And this hill in real life definitely is steeper than what it looks like here.
Yeah,
that is a big downhill.
That's a pretty scary wall when you're looking at it too, and some really famous drivers have hit that wall.
Yep.
One being Paul Newman, who very famously destroyed a Datsun 510 qualifying for the runoffs. And as I remember the story correctly, they built him another car overnight, and he was in the race the next day.
It's amazing. These S's are really fun too. I mean, it's all flat out down the S's until you get to that last left-hander, and then you've got to brake to get through turn 5.
Darren's moved up to third on that last lap.
Wow.
Seems to be figuring it out.
Yep. Darren had a really exciting race at the runoffs.
He did.
At Road America. Those last 4 or 5 laps, he drove like a demon and made up a lot of ground.
Yeah, it sure seemed like he was in a car that was not handling quite as well as the rest, but he muscled his way up the field. It was really extraordinary to watch.
Yeah, it was really exciting to watch.
See if we can go on board with Dave Fitzgerald here.
All right. That's turn 3. No, it's not. That was 6, 7. So this is the big back straight. It's slightly uphill, and then crests. We're just coming up to the crest. And then it's downhill into, I guess it's what, turn 9?
I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember the corner numbers. Or maybe it's 10 A and B. And here, this is that's all flat out down that hill. It's quite amazing. I mean, it is in a Skippy car anyway. Whoa, little nice. Nice little oversteer correction. And this is the blind turn entrance to turn 3. And then down through the S's, all flat. And then braking right here. And you can use a lot of exit curbing here. That's all good, no penalty for doing that. And that's a much faster turn than you think because the exit is all uphill, so you get plenty of grip. on the exit.
And even that 180-degree turn, you can carry a lot more speed in there than your instincts tell you can.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what Dave's livery is there.
Yeah. Looks like a star on the side. That nose cone reminds me a little bit of the Maryland flag. It's Dave Curtis.
Yeah, Dave's sporting a new paint job as well, flying the
Yeah,
VRG colors.
That's sharp.
That is sharp. I like the blue wheels. I always forget to paint the wheels when I work on my liveries.
Yeah.
Dave's going well at a 138.728.
Yeah. It's up in
Fourth fastest.
P4 now. Yeah. Yeah, the Skippy car is a real momentum car. I mean, you really can't slow it down any more than absolutely necessary to just get around, or you lose so much time. You're just airing up to P2 now. So he's a 138.7.
Still almost a second behind.
Yeah, behind Stefan.
And we haven't seen Steve Ficacci join yet. He was very fast in the practice race the other night.
Mm-hmm. Well, Steve's been very helpful with his learn the track videos.
Yeah, he's been very generous with his time.
I've really appreciated all that he's done for us newbie racers here. But you can see how the really fast guys never miss an apex. That's really key.
Yeah, it's very important to use the entire track.
And then some.
And then some, as Darren just illustrated there. That's part of finding the limit, though, is when you practice, is going over it a little bit so you find out where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's easier to do in iRacing than it is in the real world.
Yes, it is.
That part of it you daren't bring back into the real world, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another feature of the Glen that surprised me was how tall those walls appeared. They're very intimidating.
Oh yeah.
It's almost a tunneling effect. Imagine what it's like on some of those real world street courses.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a street course.
I've never encountered so many really blind corners. So we've got about 16, 17 minutes left in practice here.
All right.
Dave Curtis hops in the second.
Yeah. This is a 38.5. Looks like John was getting a draft off of Bob Lang. I can get it to check up a little bit to keep from hitting his gearbox.
Yeah, it looks like John's got the Matrix for a sponsor this week or something like that. Very interesting livery on that car.
Yeah, it's good when everybody kind of keeps the usual livery. So
Makes it simpler for the broadcasters, that's for sure.
yeah, well, it also makes it easier for the drivers because you can recognize the car, coming up behind you or when you're coming up on it.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, whoa! Everybody's seeing what they can get out of turn one. Here we go down through the S's. The Skippy rides that exit at turn 5 really pretty well.
Yeah, for an open round, and as John just showed right there, you
Yeah.
can really recover it.
Whoa. Okay, well, he saved it. He stayed out of the wall.
Well, in a GT3 car, that would have been doomed for sure.
That's right.
See if we can catch up with Stefan here.
Stefan's had a big, nice 4-wheel drift going there. Comes up over the back straight. It's a long back straight.
It is, and if
Yep.
you time the draft just right, it's a good passing opportunity at the end of that straight.
Kind of missed the apex there. You can take quite a bit of apex in that first turn at the end of the straight. The left-hander. And as Steve Ficacci always points out in his videos, as long as your head is inside the white line there, the track limits, you're good.
Well, speaking of Steve Ficacci, he just signed into the session here.
All right.
I just got some text messages from a few of the other drivers that regret they can't join this evening,
Yeah.
but they are following along with the broadcast.
Well, the whole series has really been good because it's kind of kept the club together while we're all, kind of staying at home. And, gets us together every week, race and chat, and yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, it's really created a little community on its own. At the Glen last week, all the VRL racers that were at the event sort of paddocked close to each other and were helping each other out as they needed help. So it's really been great for the camaraderie perspective.
Yeah, I think it's really good for the club. There comes Steve. And you can see that both cars have typical similar acceleration performance, so it's all about the turns. Steve left Kurt a little room there.
And it takes a couple laps to get these tires up to temperature.
Yes, that it does, and that's really important for the qualifying session, because you got to be a little bit patient in the beginning, because you really don't have that much time for qualifying.
Well,
And if you screw up and go off, then you're starting all over again on cold tires. So.
right. I mean, we're only looking at a 20-minute session, and you might need 5 to 7 minutes just to get the tires going, and to be able to start a real lap. So if you crash the car, that clock starts all over, and you can get caught out. And quite honestly, we've done that on purpose. We've created a little bit of a pressure cooker, but it's made for some interesting grids when drivers have had issues. Yep. Looks like Steve's already on a really quick one.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess this one will launch him in the top 5. Let's see. 6.
Yep. I noticed Steve uses a lot of territory there on the entrance to one.
Yeah, and
he'll drop two wheels in the grass, actually.
Absolutely, and he uses a whole lot of slip angle at corner entry. Once he's into the corner, the car's pretty stable, but he likes to enter those really high-speed corners at almost a 45-degree angle in this car.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that Stefan does something really similar in this car, and that's a little different than how you drive, the GT cars. That much slip angle, and you're going into a wall in those cars.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, that's part of the fun of this car, and it's part of the fun of vintage racing, is we have these pretty low traction tires, and it makes it an awful lot of fun to drive the cars.
Yep. Yeah, these Skippy cars are on treaded tires. They're like a DOT tire, aren't they?
Yeah, this is actually pretty much a street tire. This is even less sticky than what we normally use in our vintage racing.
See how much curb he takes there. That's key for that turn.
Good news is when you're on a hard tire like this, it lasts forever. And
Right.
Really makes the racing economical. Terrible for the tire guys, so.
Right.
And
Yep,
Steve jumps up to second. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. What is he? 38.2.
So he's
Getting closer.
Yeah, I mean, he's 3 laps in, and he's only a half second off.
Yeah, we'll have a good race here.
And it looks like Dave Curtis and Darren Treacle and Don LeBayer are all right on top of each other as well.
Yeah, look at that.
Looks like Jeff Simon's quick enough to be in that pack as well, so should be pretty interesting. That if you can stay within a second of the guy in front of you, you're in the draft. And anyone that's watched Formula One and has seen DRS, that's kind of how the draft works in these cars.
That's right.
It really slingshots you past the car. And when two cars are similar in lap time, you might see them pass each other every other lap. I remember when we did a race at Daytona, Steve and Stefan, I think, were trading positions twice a lap every time they got to those straights.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, you know, the Formula Ford race at the runoffs at Road America was like that, where they were trading the lead back and forth every lap. really exciting race. And they had a fairly good turnout of Formula Fords for the runoffs this year. Some of their Ford counts have been going down as VRG's Ford counts have been going up.
Yeah, I mean, non-COVID times, we must be averaging over 40 cars in the Formula Ford field. I know at the Jefferson 500, there's been a couple times where we had in the 50s.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's an interesting livery.
Yeah, that's Scott Luttrell, and that is a really interesting livery. Scott also a DC region racer.
What does Scott drive in the real world?
Mini Cooper.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
B-spec.
Yes.
Uh huh. So another front driver.
Yep.
It's nice. He's nice and smooth through the S's.
Yeah, he's a good driver. He's really quick in his Mini. And he signed up for the Turkey Bowl. Normally races with us every year at the Turkey Bowl. And all of our racers that race in the Modern Group at the Turkey Bowl are more than welcome to join the VRL. That's how Scott's come to us, and several other drivers in the field, including Darren Treacle.
Uh-huh. Well, I've watched Darren race SCCA for I don't know how many years. Even when I was the flag chief in the New England region, he was driving SCCA.
Yeah, Darren and I actually went to SCCA competition school together.
Huh. I found that that last turn, I don't know whether it's turn 12 or where you go under the bridge, up the hill and under the bridge and off into the wild blue yonder there. I had to pick a spot on the bridge to aim for, so that I would come out at the right place on the other side. And there's some. I don't know if we'll see it when he comes around, but there's some colored squares on the bridge, and they look like almost like flag squares on the lower part of the bridge, and there's a big red square. It's just about the right spot to aim for when you go up and over.
Looks like Bob Lang is starting to get a tow from Scott.
Yep.
And you will see the drivers trying to do that during the qualifying session. You can definitely go faster in these cars if you can get in someone's draft. And we're about 3 minutes from the end of this session and the beginning of qualifying. All right. So most of these drivers will be getting their car set up for qualifying. They'll be putting as little fuel in the tank as they can, and hopefully they remember to fill it back up before the race.
That's right. Well, one nice thing about the Skippy is that there aren't too many things you can change on it as far. Whoa!
Oh, that was a nice recovery. Save. Yeah,
nice save.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can change. It's almost like a spec series. There's some small tweaks.
Yep.
But even those, the drivers are all very generous with sharing their setups. So usually when the fast guy gets the setup, he shares it with the entire field.
And that's another thing that's amazing about the iRacing is that you can make chassis adjustments, and they make a difference.
Yeah, they
Without
absolutely
a doubt.
do. Yeah.
You can tell the difference driving the car in the sim.
We definitely make a lot more chassis changes in the virtual world than we would with our real cars.
Right. Yeah, it's easy when it's a few clicks away.
Yeah. It's hours and hours of work in the real world, and then you've got to realign the car. And
Yep.
especially with vintage cars, once you get them set, these cars have been raced for so long, we know how to set them up.
Yep.
It's not too much more you're going to find.
And basically the only thing you're going to mess with are maybe tire pressures and well, for me, rear anti-roll bar setting.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly tire pressures for me. I try not to mess with what's worked so well for so many years. And even the tire pressures, honestly, I've been using the same brand of tires for so long. I know exactly what to set them to in what conditions.
Yep.
And even at certain tracks, I know what numbers to use at which wheel.
That's interesting. The front kind of washed out on Scott's car there.
Yeah, I noticed that. Maybe just carrying a little bit too much speed. Looks like Steve Ficacci has jumped to the front in practice.
Look at that.
Yeah. Didn't take long.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they do in the qualifying, if they can keep that speed and not make any errors.
Well, they're just a couple tenths apart. If one gets a jump on the other, they'll be able to stay with each other because it's not enough of a difference to break the draft. So I expect, unless one of the drivers makes a mistake, Stefan and Steve
That's the end.
will have an interesting race. But here, let's see what happens in qualifying now.
Yep. It's funny, they show some of these views looking back on the track.
There's Darren's real world car that he was racing at the runoffs this year.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and I believe that he just purchased, I think it's an E46 BMW that used to race in the Grand Am series.
Oh.
So he's going to be switching classes.
It's going from a front driver to a rear driver.
Yeah, he sure is.
So we've started quali yet, have we?
Yeah, we're in qualifying right now.
Okay, great.
This is the outlap for qualifying.
I'm not sure that scrubbing the tires in iRacing does anything.
Yeah, I certainly haven't noticed a difference.
I'm not sure what the algorithm is. It may be you just have to make so many turns on the course, on a course. But it's usually about 2 laps minimum, and sometimes a little bit more before the tires really come in.
Yeah, and the guys that are quick on cold tires, it shows at the beginning of the race. It really is an advantage.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. In fact, I know Stefan will go out and during practice, in and out, just to get used to going quick on cold tires.
And Darren's another one that's awfully crafty on the cold tires. So these are out laps. No one has begun a timed lap yet.
Yeah, it's important to be patient here.
Looks like Dave Fitzgerald just let Darren go.
Yep. Yeah, if you're on your out lap, The idea is to just get a good, clean, clear lap, get a bunch of them, work up your rhythm. And as you said, if you can get a toe, so much the better. You got a little boost off. There you can see those flags, or those red marks on the bridge.
Yeah.
They're at the very lowest part of the bridge there. Because you need some kind of landmark, because there's nothing you can see on the other side.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing. So Stefan is straight into the low 38s.
Wow.
Wow. That's on cold tires. That's impressive.
Yeah. That bodes well for the start. Yeah, here's Stefan.
Using the
Using
whole
all the
track, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you don't want to overdo that though, because you'll lose your lap if you exceed track limits. So it's always a fine line.
Yeah, in practice they won't zap it from you, but once you get to qualifying, they'll take it away. No,
Perfect.
Nicely done.
Perfect. Yep.
Using the whole track again.
Yep.
Did not go quicker that time. Oh, and Darren jumps to the top.
All right. Let's see. It's hard to read the purple here.
It's a 138, 387.
38? Yeah. I'm on a small screen here on my laptop. It's just amazing how accurate the track is, though.
Steve Ficacci jumping to the top at a 138, 240. Well, the fast three that we expect to see in front are already putting in the hot laps. No surprise there.
Yep.
Dave Curtis in fourth. Newcomer Mike Kelly up to fifth.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, nice. Well, I expect Don LeBayer will pick up the pace. And Bob Lang, too.
Oh, Carlos Bonds has joined the session.
Oh, good. He just comes in to qualify, huh?
Yeah. So 10 years or so ago, I ran another version of an iRacing series, and it was just a small group. And Stefan Vapa, Darren Treacle, Dave Curtis, Carlos Bonds, and Scott Luttrell were all part of that group.
Oh, great.
So all these guys have been doing this a long time.
And what cars were you using?
We jumped between a few different cars. We did the Mustangs, Miatas, VWs. But iRacing was very much still in its infancy back in those days.
Yeah. Well, they're always tweaking it because, I mean, just about every week there's an update.
Yeah. And Stefan's the first to get into the 37s.
There we go.
And as you predicted, Don has jumped up to 5th position. Top 7 are less than 2 seconds apart, though.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Well, another thing that's wonderful is how far geographically everyone can be and still race together. Don's down in Florida.
Right.
I know Bob Lang is, I believe he's in Massachusetts. So we really span the East Coast. Boy, Bob letting it all hang out there.
Yeah, it looks cool, but, you know, you do scrub some speed when you do that.
Yeah.
It's really, I think it's really important to try to just keep it as clean as you can. Just let the car go.
Well.
Oh, you could see his head. Did you see that?
Oh,
that was pretty
boy.
cool. Yeah, see now. He may be able to continue, though. It didn't look like it was badly damaged.
Stefan continuing to put it in the fast laps.
Yeah. There's Steve using all the road. Whoa!
Haven't seen a lap from Toby Yurko or Kurt Uzbey yet.
No.
I think it's what you talked about. If you don't keep it on track, you don't get a time. There's Toby right there. And Kurt's on track as well. Let's see if he can get a time here. It's coming around the last corner.
What's Simon's livery look like? I'm not familiar because he's a new guy.
Yeah, this is Jeff's first race.
Here he is. So he's got what, black side pods? It looks like. So he and Kurt have very similar liveries.
Yeah, and here's Kurt. He's got white side pods. And you can see Kurt's beautiful chevron below.
Yep. Yep. He's mirroring the colors on the chevron, which is cool.
We're a little bit past halfway point of qualifying. It's funny, the cars don't seem to get any slower as the tires get laps on them either. You know, the wear of the tires and the lightness of the fuel burning seems to equalize because the times don't seem to change.
No, the tires hold up really well on these cars.
Well, and that's a little different from when we were racing the GT cars because you could absolutely ruin the tires on those.
Yep. Well, these cars are so much lighter too.
Well, and it means the drivers can hang on to the car later in the race, where
Yep.
the GT cars, we would lose a lot to attrition at the end of 40 minutes because the cars became so difficult to drive.
Yep.
These cars just don't wear anything out. Brakes, tires, everything is still great at the end of the race.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at your tires where you can check the pressures and how much tread is left. There's always a lot of tread left on the black box screen.
So it looks like Darren's close to getting into the 37s. Stefan is well into the 37s. Really starting to set the pace now. And it looks like we chased Kurt off track. I'm sorry, Kurt. And we just chased Scott off the track as well, but he brought it back together. Good job.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Doesn't have to get new tires or anything else. So
Wow.
he's still in there.
So Carlos Bonds
Here's
always.
Carlos.
Yeah, he always has the interesting Hello Kitty livery.
Yeah, he's got those bubblegum wheels now.
Yeah. He's another one of those drivers who will get progressively faster as the evening goes on.
Yes.
He's 12th fastest now. By the end of the race, he'll probably be top 5.
Well, he didn't do any practice either, so that may have something to do with it.
He spent all his time working on his livery.
Yeah, that's right. Is Carlos a DC region driver too? I don't know Carlos.
So Carlos and Dave both do track days in the area. They are both in the area, but they don't race with DC region now. They're both awfully quick in go-karts, so.
Is that right? Yeah.
I'm kind of mesmerized by the fuchsia bubble gum, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. You can have wheels, you might as well have bright ones, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No one has any excuse for running into you with that livery, that's for sure.
Yeah. So he's going to school on Stefan here, I think. See if he can pick up some tips.
Well, honestly, Carlos is pretty crafty like that. He will follow a driver like Stefan, and he will learn quickly. Looks like Stefan is dialing it back.
You go ahead. I'm not giving you any. I'm not giving you all my secrets.
See, we haven't spent much time with Scott Krieger yet.
Yeah, let's see what Scotty's up to. Yeah, he's got some bright wheels too. They look good. I like the orange and gray combo, actually.
And we're a little over 2 minutes to go towards the end of qualifying.
All right.
Looks like Stefan Vapa is still leading the way.
Just another lap to get a fast time.
Looks like John Wood is in the pits. So a lot of these drivers, what they'll do is towards the end of qualifying, if they're happy with their time, they'll fill the car back up, and then they'll get used to it so that they're not feeling a full fuel load at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, that's a good point. Car does feel different with a low fuel load.
It
sure.
absolutely does, and if you don't get used to it, it can catch you out at the beginning of a race. Carlos starting to move his way up. It's up to 12th now.
Yeah.
Looks like all of our drivers have times in now as well.
That's good.
And they're all competitive times.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm looking down the order here. Dave Fitzgerald in 7th. It's only about a second and a half off the pace, and you know, with the draft, that's competitive. It's going to be an exciting first few laps.
Yeah.
You know, one mistake by one of the front cars, and any of the drivers in the top 10 could have a shot at winning this.
Yeah, the key during the race is to keep it clean. Because if you have a shot, it just ruins your race. You got to take so long to get towed back.
Well,
and then repairs.
We are at the end of qualifying. Checkers is out. Drivers are putting in their final lap. Times will count.
You know, I'm not sure they do.
Yeah, if you're in the lap and the checker comes out, it will count. It will count.
It will.
It will. Yeah.
I know it does in the real world, but sometimes I'm not. You know, I haven't finished that lap, and they tell me what position I am.
Yeah, sometimes if you're running crew chief, it will make a decision for you.
Yeah. That may be it.
All right, let's see if we can take a look at the race info as we wait for the grid. So it looks like,
Right.
Wow, the weather is just perfect, Mac. Look at that.
Perfect. Yep. Beautiful.
No
wind.
It looks really similar to the weather we've had at every race this year. I wonder how that happened.
That's amazing. You must have it in with the weatherman.
Well, we'll have to talk to Storm about that.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we should try some different times a day just for the heck of it.
Yeah, there was a Daytona race where I tried to transition from day to night, and I made a mistake and kept it a constant time, and we just had, twilight, and it was almost impossible to see anything. So we're still waiting for our grid to load here. There we go. So on pole, Stefan Vappa. Second, Steve Ficacci. Third, Darren Treacle. Fourth, Dave Curtis. Fifth, Don LeBayer. Sixth, Jeff Simon. Seventh, Dave Fitzgerald. Eighth, John Wood. Ninth, Michael Kelly. 10th, Scott Krieger. 11th, Bob Lang. 12th, Carlos Bonds. 13th, Curtis Bay. 14th, Scott Luttrell. And 15th, Toby Yurko. And it looks like we are going to get a pace start here.
Yes, it does. We get the pace car out front. And
Looks like we've got almost everyone. We're still waiting for Steve Ficacci on the grid. And I believe Kurt Usbay. So Steve is there. Kurt is there. We've got all the drivers. We have a full field.
So
15
like
cars. That's a nice size field.
Yep.
So right now they're all saying, why did Jim give us a pace lap instead of a standing start?
Right. Pay no attention to the man behind the screen.
Nothing like a curveball when you're not expecting it.
Just an added dimension.
So it looks like Steve Ficacci is in the library, is in the lobby. I'm going to try to pull him in here and see if we can get an interview on the pace lap.
All right.
Steve Ficacci, this is Jim Karamanis and Mac McCormack. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good. Well, I'm glad we were able to grab you as you're on the grid. Is everyone surprised to see the pace car out there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you could tell him I said I'm sorry. I was just telling Mac, I realized that when I set up the session, I wasn't sure how I set it up. So there you go.
Yeah.
Nothing like a little curveball.
Sorry, hashtag not sorry.
Yeah, I think we've got enough practice both ways that I don't think you're going to catch anyone off guard. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Well, let him know
Looks like,
I apologize.
Will do.
So, what do you think? The top three look pretty close.
Yeah, I think it will be a little close. I didn't get any laps of draft and qualifying, so I'm sure there's a little bit there. I mean, Stefan was a bit in front of me on the track, so I don't even know what he was looking at. So, for all I know, his laps are all clean. So, yeah, it should be a good race. I mean, long straightaways, you need quite a bit of speed to really make a difference. So, I'm not really expecting him or I to pull away on pure pace.
Well, it looks like you guys are so close together, and with the draft, it should provide for a lot of back and forth. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think Darren and Dave behind us, they seem to have good pace as well. So, I mean, if we can kind of get in a group, it should be a really good race.
Yeah, I think we have the makings of a real good race here.
We've said this before, though.
Well, you'll be all right in turn one, but then there's turn three.
Yeah, this first lap's going to be really slick. You know, we just had that 20-minute qualifier, and you know, after a few laps, the car gets real good. And if you get lulled into thinking that grip's going to be there on lap one, you're going to be sorry.
That's right.
Well, Steve,
Yeah,
we'll let you get prepped for the beginning of the race here. We might try to jump in with you at some point, but otherwise, enjoy and good luck.
Thank you. Enjoy the view.
All right, thank
Yep.
you.
Good luck, Steve.
Thanks.
You know, I'm always impressed how calm Steve sounds when he's driving the car and being interviewed. Every time I've tried to be interviewed while I'm driving the car, I drive off the track.
Yep. Yeah, he is a calm and collected guy. He does a great job with those videos that he's given us too.
Yeah, and what Mac's talking about there is every time we go to a new track, he does a little video to explain to the racers how he drives the track, and everyone who watches it seems to go faster after watching it.
There we go. Pace car's in.
Pace car's in, last corner. And Stefan's taking off. We're green.
Whoa,
Looks like looks like Carlos went off but brought it back on. Looks like we're pretty clean here, and boy, Stefan really got the jump on the field. Yeah,
he did. So far, looks like everyone got through three.
Yeah. Steve seems to be holding on to him pretty good, though. Darren's a little further back.
Yeah. Now it's just time to settle in and work a rhythm.
Dave Curtis holding on the fourth. Jeff Simon holding on the fifth. It looks like Dave Fitzgerald has jumped up to sixth position. Mike Kelly has gained a spot. Scott Luttrell and Toby Yurko have both gained 2 positions. Boy, that's a great shot. Look at all those cars coming down that straight together.
Yep.
Well, Steve's definitely picking up the draft, and it looks like Dave Curtis is picking it up on Darren Treacle as well. So it looks like Darren is just over a second behind Steve. That's going to make it tough for him to hang on to the first two.
Yep.
Once you get us out of that 1 second gap, it's hard to catch the draft.
Yeah.
But
And these two will make time out in front too.
well, Steve and
Say
Stefan
hook
are
up.
smart, and they will hook up, and they will try to get a lead together before they start battling. They know they've got 40 minutes to sort this out.
Yeah, it looks like Steve is locked on to Stefan now.
Looks like Darren's trying to break away from Dave Curtis, and Dave
Yep.
goes wide.
Yeah, that'll help him get away too.
Looks like Dave Fitzgerald is taking the position from Dave Curtis. Nice job. And Dave very smartly tucks back into the draft.
Right.
Let's see if he can make a pass back. He's going to try it.
Looks like Steve is making a move on Stefan too.
Yeah, looks like Steve has already gotten by Stefan.
Got him. Yep.
And looks like we lost Kurt Osbey in all that scuffle as well.
I thought I saw Kurt go into the wall on the start. Some red car did anyway.
See if we can figure out what happened to Kurt here.
Yeah, see, he's way back now.
He's way back now, yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is, yeah. Oh, yep.
No, that's
that
not such a
did
bad hit.
Now he should be
just-
able to continue after that. It looks
I
like
think so.
Toby Yurko is in the pits, though. Kurt is kept going. And the front two have cleanly
Yeah.
broken away from Darren now. They've got 2 seconds on him, and then it's another 2 back to Dave Fitzgerald. But if these two start battling it out, Darren might be able to catch them.
That's right. Well, like we've said before, you don't want to be P1 on the last lap. You want to be able to make that kind of a move on the last lap.
Wow, so Stefan takes advantage of the draft and gets the pass.
Yeah.
This is pretty much the same spot where Steve got him last lap.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that in this race.
That is definitely the prime passing spots.
Well, Steve got a run on him here. And
He sure did.
wow.
Looks like he's going to get him back going into 1. And now Stefan seems to have the run. And is he going to get him
Let's
back?
see.
They are side by side, and he gets the position.
Yes, he got him.
But he's going off now.
There you go.
And
He saved that nicely.
He did save it, and Mr. Treacle is just about in their draft because of
Yep.
this.
Yeah, Darren says, keep that up, boys. I'm coming.
Well, as we know, Darren is going to get faster and faster as the race goes, and he gets used to these cars. And look, he's in Steve Ficacci's draft
Yep.
now. He's
Yep.
there. So we now have a 3-way battle for the lead. I bet you Stefan and Steve are kicking themselves because the last thing you want is Darren Treacle in your rearview mirror.
Right.
You give him the opportunity, he's going to take it.
And here we go.
And he's going to take it right here.
Yep. Right.
Oh, and Steve
Right.
goes around Stefan, going for the lead. Darren says, thank you very much. I accept the... And look at it. He's right on Stefan's tail. And these three are putting on a show, as we expected.
They are.
Oh, and look at Stefan taking a look at the inside on the last corner.
Whoa, that's scary.
Wow! Almost loses it. Holds on. Darren's off on the other side of the track. These guys are all going for broke.
That was a brave move.
And it looks like Scott Krieger's coming out of the pits.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Luttrell is in the pits. Toby Yurko is taking the position on Scott Luttrell while he's in the pits.
Steve got a little crossed up there.
Yeah, he sure did.
But saved it nicely and didn't lose any time, apparently.
Steve has the fastest lap of the race thus far, but the top three are all very close time-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Darren lost a little bit off that run. Let's see if he can make it back up. I think we're about to see another Stefan Vappa pass here.
We should get an in-car of what one of these passes looks like. Can you do that? Next time they set up like that.
And here's a view from Stefan Vappa's car. And as close as these two are, you never know when the pass is going to take place.
That's true. He's gaining on it.
It looks like he was thinking about it.
Yeah, he was just filling his mirrors a bit.
These two less than a half a second apart. Darren's dropped back about a second and a half behind Stefan now. Look how smooth these guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they're so fast.
Almost no wheel movement at all.
Well, and for those of you that don't drive cars but are car enthusiasts, it's very easy to think that lots of sawing at the wheels fast, because that's what they show you on the Fast and the Furious. But I assure you that when Tanner Faust, who is the stunt car driver that's doing that, he's very much doing that for the show. And if he wanted to go fast, he could be just as smooth as these guys. Kurt Usbay has moved all the way up to 10th now. Dave Fitzgerald is in the pits. Oh, let's see. It looks like Dave had an off track here. Let's see if we can pick it up. Looks like Dave was trying to take the position. Oh! Looks like he tangled up with gosh, was that Dave Curtis? Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, that was ugly.
Ugly.
So Stefan Vappa is back in the lead again. But Steve Ficacci making the move again into one.
Into one.
I've already lost track of how many lead changes we've had, Mac.
Yep. Almost 2 per lap.
These two just putting on a clinic. Darren's been dropped now, and he's going to be lonely because I don't see any other driver with a pace to keep up with him.
This is just as exciting in the cockpit in iRacing as it is in the real world, and those guys' heart rates are up there.
Well, that's really true. When you get into a battle like this, at the end of the race, you'll take off the headset and realize you're just as sweaty as you'd be in the real race car.
That's right.
Stefan making another run. I mean, we're only 11 minutes into a 40-minute race, and we've at least had 5 or 6 passes already.
Yep.
Oh, and Stefan definitely got a better run going through there.
Yep, he's all over him.
And I suspect he's going to go right by him here.
Yeah, I think Steve will give him room. He's not going to give him the position, but he'll give him the room.
It's amazing how much he slowed down when he came out of that draft. It's like he hit a brick wall. He had an
but he also
run.
had to pinch off the. He couldn't use the whole track, you know.
True.
To make that inside move.
So Stefan does have the fastest lap. It's about 0.2 faster than Steve Ficacci, but it's not enough of a difference to make the pass.
Yeah, he probably made up that 0.2 into, 10A and B.
So newcomer Mike Kelly is up to 4th and putting in some pretty quick lap times.
Wow.
Let's catch up with Mike and see how he's doing.
Yeah.
Looks like he's having a battle with Don LeBayer here. Oh, looks like Don just got by him. And Jeff Simon right behind these three having a great battle.
Yeah, let's watch this for a while. Let's see what... Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mike's all over Don. He certainly got the draft. Let's see what happens in the break zone.
Oh, Don taking a defensive line.
Yeah, he's breaking the draft.
I don't think it's going to work, though. I think Mike had the pace.
Well, it ain't over yet.
It's not over yet. Mike's ahead.
Yeah, he may lose.
Oh! Oh, boy. Oh, and they touch. Mike says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that position." Yep. He definitely had the spot. It was his corner, but something just flew off of someone's car.
All right.
Now Jeff Simon seems to have the legs on Mike. Great battle between these three. I'm not sure who lost the part though.
I don't see anything missing that I can see.
Yeah, me either. I definitely saw something flying down the track though.
Maybe it might be a wing end plate or something on the front wing, in which case it would be on Jeff Simon's car, maybe. Well,
and Mike Kelly is starting to gap these guys now, but takes this a little wide. That might hurt him.
I think that's an out of bounds.
Oh, it looks like Jeff Simon is having some connectivity issues there.
Yeah.
Looks like Stefan and Steve are passing each other again. Mike Kelly continuing to hold on to 4th. Don LeBayer trying to make a run now at Jeff Simon. Seems to have the legs. Can he make the pass? Jeff taking a little bit of a defensive line. Seemed to be enough to fend Don off.
Yep. He went pretty deep in the brake zone there.
Don seems to have the run again, and Jeff having some netcode issues again.
That's very disconcerting when you're right behind him.
It really is tough, and a lot of times what you see when you're following a car that does that is the car hops up in the air and drops back down, and you see a bunch of tire smoke. It's very distracting.
It is.
Well, Don's done a great job of taking the position back. It looks like Darren has gotten down into the 37s now, starting to find the speed. Let's see if we can see what's going on at the front here. Stefan and Steve still just locked together.
Just duking it out.
This is the closest battle on track. And looks like we might get another pass. Oh, and Stefan has to yield.
Stefan's very quick through there.
He's very quick through there. They're definitely quicker in different parts of the track. It's making it difficult for one driver to just break away from the other. Their fast laps are almost identical. They're both in 137.4 territory. This is what we like to see, though.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
There's a cone out in the middle of the track.
Yeah, and the nice thing is in iRacing, no one has to run out there to pick it up.
That's right. As a flagger, you can do that on the first lap before they come around again. And once they get strung out,
Yeah.
you can just leave it out there.
Well, I know that you're also an F1 flagger. The thought of jumping on the track when F1 cars are out there must just be terrifying.
Yeah, you can't really do that anymore. But the one thing we do in F1 is if somebody goes off, you swarm that car, which you really don't see that much at least this is in Canada. I mean, we'd have somebody with a car within 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Looks like Don LeBayer has gotten by Mike Kelly again.
yeah, they're having a great race. Yep.
So the battle for fourth is for real.
So what happened to Jeff Simon? He dropped back quite a bit.
Yeah, I think he had an off. He went off the track. Let's see if we can pick that up. You know, I think he had a netcode issue.
That shouldn't change his position, right? No, he looked like he got a little sideways there.
Yeah, I think he just he hit the wall there. So here's Darren Treacle, lonely in third place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been in that spot quite a bit in this virtual racing where not quite fast enough to be up front and too fast to be in the thick of it, and it can be very easy to make mistakes when you're in this kind of situation.
Yeah, it's not as much fun than when you have someone to race with, even if you're further back in the pack.
It looks like Kurt Isbay has had an incident. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, he looks like he held on to it. All right.
Yeah, he saved that nicely.
Nice job. So it looks like Stefan and Steve are already lapping the field.
Yep.
Dave Fitzgerald, after having the pit from his accident, has gotten up to 9th position.
It's amazing. Just put his head down and kept pedaling. But these guys have made no mistakes. It's very impressive. The level at which they're driving and the speed and swapping the leads, it's flawless. And now their tires are in and the car's got good grip, and you can see that they're much more stable.
Oh, it looks like we're going to get another pass here.
Yep.
It looks like the key is to be second place coming into that corner.
I think so. I think that's why Stefan's practicing trying to pass into turn 1, though,
Yeah.
just in case he needs to do that.
Yeah, but that finish
Start-
line comes up so quickly, though.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. It's right at the beginning of that front straight.
Stefan gets the jump going into 1.
Yep. Now it's a chess match, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. How many moves ahead do you have to think to set up that final pass and make it stick?
Looks like Dave Fitzgerald made it around Carlos Bonds. Let's see if we can pick that up here.
Looks like Carlos may be missing a nose cone.
Yeah, I think you're right. That looked all too easy.
Yeah, it's amazing how just missing that one little nose cone makes a difference in your top speed.
Oh, it looks like Jeff Simon has crashed again.
Ooh.
And Stefan holds on that time.
What a great race.
Both of these guys trying to figure out where they want to be at the end of this race.
We got any close action back further in the pack, Jim? I can't really tell from what I'm seeing here.
Looks like Mike's still holding on to Don. Looks like John Wood took a position. He's moved up to 6.
Yep. Is John racing with anybody, or is he just slowly working his way up?
Seems to be by himself.
Yeah.
Not sure how he got around Dave Curtis.
Unless when Dave didn't.
One thing I've noticed about John Wood is that he's very good at quietly making his way up the field.
Yeah, he's very consistent. No mistakes.
Yeah, he's always there at the end of the race.
That's so key.
Dave Fitzgerald up to 8th now. Trying to hunt down Dave Curtis. He's 24 seconds back.
Big gap.
It's a tall order, but we still got 15 minutes left. It could happen.
It's a great livery, though, isn't it, on that car?
It sure is. And we haven't picked up Bob Lang, having a quiet race down in 10th.
Looks like he's chasing down somebody. Who's that?
Looks like he's about 6 seconds back of Carlos Bonds. Not unusual to see Bob and Carlos locked together.
Yep. I guess that's Darren just passed him then.
Yeah, Darren just got by them. Don and Mike still battling it out for 4th. These two have been at it the entire race.
They have. They've had a good race. Yeah, it's too bad Jeff Simon still isn't with that group, because the three of them were really well matched.
Yeah, I think whatever connectivity issues he had took him out of it. Wow, Stefan resets fast lap at a 137 flat.
Wow. He's going to get into 136s before this is over.
And Steve has gone 137.1, not far behind. Darren, the only other runner in the 37s, he's at a 37.9. Mike just not letting Don go.
Nope.
Waiting for a mistake, but he's not getting it. Both of these drivers putting in consistent laps. Oh, looks like we've had a change here.
Oh. He caught Carlos. Yeah, I wonder if that missing nose cone is hurting him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just can't get the speed on the long straights.
Yeah, when your toes are getting air, it's a problem in these cars.
Yeah, you can go through the turns pretty much the same speed, but once you get on the straight where you need that arrow, it really makes a difference.
So while we were away, these two swap positions 3 times, it looks like. Carlos still hanging on the bob, though, without the nose cone.
Yeah, this is where he's had a disadvantage on this long straight. You can see Bob walk away from him.
Yeah, Bob's walked away. Mike Kelly, on the other hand, is right on Don.
He's all over him.
And we might be seeing a change here. No!
No, I think he's just getting in his mirrors here.
Didn't seem to affect Don at all.
Nah. Don's a cool customer.
And these two continuing to pound out some really excellent lap times, running consistently in the 38s and 39s. Climbing the hill, catching Kurt Osbey. Every time it looks like Don's about to put a little gap in, Mike makes it up.
Yep.
Mike getting a really good run here.
Really good.
Nine minutes to go. Up front, Steve Ficacci now in the lead. And And looks like Stefan's going to take a peek in the one.
Yeah. Stefan's perfected that pass into one, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Steve has perfected that pass at the back of the
Right.
track, and
Yeah.
that could put him in front right at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve!
Well.
Steve jumps into the mid 136s. Wow!
Wow.
Resets fast lap at a 136.5. That's a half second faster than Stefan. That's incredible. That's the draft talking there.
I think so. Certainly doesn't look like there's a half a second difference between them, doesn't it?
No.
No. So this is where Steve practices his pass. That's a 10.
Stefan taking that defensive line again. Steve coming out really wide and makes it work.
Yeah. Well before the brake zone.
Yeah. Stefan forcing him to take a much slower line through there, though, which sets Stefan up to retake at turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can get it done before start finish though, and when it comes to the last lap, I think that's going to be a tough move.
Well, and will Stefan park behind Steve now and wait?
Right. Well, you know Steve will know it though. So Steve may say, "Okay, now I'm gonna put some space between us."
He's trying really hard to break the draft right now, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He's got to be careful though, not to make any boo-boos.
He's pulled out almost a second. I think he's trying to break this draft.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think he's quite there. I think Stefan's just in it enough. You see him getting sucked back in.
Yep. He's not going to be able to drop him, that's for sure.
Well, especially through this section. Stefan's so fast through here.
Yeah.
And there it is again. Closes
Yep.
the gap again. Does Stefan have a nick on the front of his car?
He's right on him.
Yep. They're back together.
That was really interesting.
And it looks like Mike Kelly is still right on top of Don LeBayer.
Yeah.
Their fast laps are almost identical. I mean, they're a hundredth apart.
Yeah, they're running like a train there. Well, I wonder if Mike is just going to hang back behind Don and try to make that final pass.
Well, it looks like Dave Curtis is now closing in on John Wood. We've got a third
Yeah.
battle here.
He is.
Battle for 6. Looks like Dave is going to use his knives there and slash that gap. He's definitely catching him.
Yeah, this is where John just has to keep his cool. Hard to do.
Well, Dave seems to have the speed.
He does.
I think it's going to be very difficult to hold him back.
Yeah, I think once he gets on the back straight, I think he'll utilize the draft and get him.
Meanwhile, up front, Stefan Vapa is retaking the lead. We'll stay with this battle, though. See if Mr. Curtis can get the job done. He's got the run.
He's got him.
I don't think there's anything John can do to stop this.
In fact, he can even pull it back over and use all the brake zone.
So nicely done. Mr. Curtis making his way back up the field.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to have enough time to hunt down Don LeBire and Mike Kelly. But he's comfortably in the 6. These two still going at it. You know, I've been so tempted to try to bring Steve Ficacci back in here, but with that battle being so close, I don't want to. I don't want to interrupt.
No, yeah, you don't want to distract him at all. We'll talk to him at the end.
Oh, Don getting a much better run through there.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, Mike got a little squirrely there.
Sometimes you try a little too hard and you end up scrubbing off speed. He's pushing.
Yeah, in these cars, it's all about exit out of the corner, not how deep you can go in.
Yeah, you can be a little loose before the corner, but once you're in it, you really have to be on rails or you bleed off too much speed.
Yep.
Don gets a really nice little run there. Puts a little gap between himself and Mike. Meanwhile, up front, Steve is taking the lead again, but they're side by side.
They are.
Stefan pulls. So it looks like Steve tried to pull out early that time and wasn't able to make the pass. Although, this could just be a crafty maneuver by Steve because there's less than a minute left here. That very much may have been on purpose to try to put him in the catbird seat on this last lap.
Have we had a white flag yet?
I do not know if the white flag is out. I suspect we have not because I didn't see Barney waving anything. Oh, Stefan's off!
Stefan got it. Oh. Stefan maybe was trying to make a gap now because he knows he's in.
He was either trying to make a gap or he was trying to give Steve the play so that he can be in a catbird seat. So through all this battle, Darren Treacle's only 10 seconds behind, so he's done a pretty good job of hanging on to some really fast cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks like Toby Yurko is off with another crash.
Oh, that's too bad.
And Steve Ficacci has the position.
Yeah.
Oh, but Stefan making a run. Oh, and a big lunge. Saved it. That was a big lunge, and somehow he saved it. The question is this green? Is this white flag or is this checkered flag? Looks like Stefan's first across the line. I don't see a flag waving.
No, I don't.
But it's checkers.
That was it?
That was it. Stefan has taken it.
Wow.
Steve Ficacci got down to a 136.
Wow.
And
What a race.
Stefan takes it. What a race. Looks like Don LeBuyer's going to hold off Mike Kelly.
Yep, for 4th.
So good job, Don. Dave Curtis is going to take 6.
Oh, someone maybe had a guess.
Looks like Bob Lang ran out of gas. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. Here comes John.
He's trying to go. Someone's pushing him. Or is he just gliding?
No, he's just rolling down the hill now.
He is rolling down the hill.
But he's got to go back up a hill. A big one. Before he can get to start-finish, so...
Starting to pick up a little speed here. I don't think it's going to be
good.
enough to get up that hill.
No.
Oh, here comes Steve Ficacci and Stefan. No one gave him a push. I think they're still racing.
I don't know.
Oh!
There's a push. Oh, he didn't realize he was out of gas, and
looks like
gave him a pretty good push. He almost got him up the hill.
yeah. Dave Fitzgerald ran into him and almost got him up the hill, but not quite.
Oh boy.
So it looks like Bob's still gonna maintain 11th place because I think he was a lap ahead of Toby Yurko. So I think he's okay even if he parks it right there. So there we have it.
Yeah.
Stefan Vappa with a victory. Let's see if we can pull some of these guys in here. We've got Darren. We've got Darren and Steve. We'll see if we can pick up Stefan and get the interviews going. So Darren, you're unbuckled. You looked a little lonely in that race.
Yeah, it was a little lonely.
Yeah.
You know, it's just another day at the track.
I was wondering if you were going to get bored and stop off and have a burrito or something, but I guess you had dinner in advance this time.
I did. I ate before I raced. If I hadn't have eaten, I would have stopped.
Yeah. You know, that's how I figure out how your stomach is. When you're by yourself and you keep going, I know you've had dinner.
It would make it a lot easier if I would have to set this thing as an auto, so I never have to shift gears. Right?
Yeah. Right.
I can drive with one hand then.
Autopilot, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So Stefan and Steve, what a race! Stefan, congrats on the victory. Steve, congratulations on an incredible second place. You guys put on an incredible show. Stefan, why don't you talk us through it from your perspective?
Well, first of all, I was a little surprised when we had a rolling start. I was desperately disappointed with that, but it ended up being okay for me. It was kind of funny. I didn't intend to roll away that quickly at the start, but it's a downhill run, and just trying to keep the throttle even, it just accelerated a little bit, so I figured, go with it.
So Stefan, when you watch the replay, you'll hear me telling Mac, I can't remember if I set this up as a paced or a standing start.
Yeah. So that actually went okay. I heard there was a little bit of a kerfuffle in the back, but as far as where we were, that was relatively clean, but it took me a while to get into a rhythm. I got a little bit distracted or just overzealous, or I don't know, but early on, I don't know what you call that corner, but it's at the top of the hill of turn 3, and I'm just going to call it my nemesis.
Yeah.
because I can't keep it consistent. Every once in a while, I would nail it. Every once in a while, it would be right on the edge, but still clean. And then every once in a while, I just blow through it like it wasn't there. Take out all the cones. But we got to the point where Steve and I were we could trade laps at will, and so now we're trying to figure out what's going to work at the end, but without giving your hand away.
Yeah. we could see the chess match playing out there. You guys were trying different strategies to see if they would work, and
yeah. So
really
I had a strategy worked out for if I was in front, and I had a strategy worked out for if I was behind, and it actually worked, which is a shocker.
For the record, I was doing the same thing. I was just by myself.
Yeah, it looked like you had a lonely race back there.
Yeah.
You were
about
you were
lap 5.
strategizing whether or not to grab the burrito, Darren. We know
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Darren, they call that visualization, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
so Steve, you stepped out of the booth this week to race the car. Tell us how that went.
It's pretty good. I would say it was fairly low key most of the race because I felt like I couldn't get away from Steph, and I didn't think he'd get away from me. Every once in a while, I would see a lap car coming up in front of us, and I would say, you know what, let me get in front of him and see if I can drive real hard. But it's just not enough. I think there was one point, the gap was a little bit over a second, but he sucked it right back in. So
Yeah.
I kind of realized early that wasn't going to work. But the last lap, I wasn't sure where to be, so I wasn't really trying to figure anything out. And I thought there were like 3 times I could have got him back, but it didn't work out. I had the lead going into the last chicane there. I saw him make a move, and I said, I don't think I'll be able to hang on the outside. He's going to run me in the grass, so let me let him by, and I'll get him back up the hill. But, because of his entry, he was so slow going through the apex. I had a lift, and then I had a good run around the outside, and I really think I could have made that work. I just left him too much room, and I missed my turn in. If I stayed close, it would have been nose to nose right at the finish there. But it didn't work out today, but that's fine. It was a great race with Stefan. I like racing with Stefan. I know that he'll leave me room, and short of me taking him out, we're going to be there in 40 minutes at the end.
Yeah, it was a great race. It looked like you tried to, maybe with about 2 laps to go, it looks like you tried to open a gap.
Yeah, whenever I saw the gap looked a little bit big, I was like, I kind of know it's 1.5 seconds, so I really didn't think I could get there. But if I ever had a chance, or like I think there was, like you were saying, 2 laps to go, I think Stefan was a little slow through like 2, 3, and 4, and there was a gap, and I was like, the hell, I'm going to run with it right now and see if I can make something happen. But it just couldn't do it. It was too late.
Yeah. And he caught you back up.
Yeah, I did the same thing with about somewhere around 10 laps to go. I could see I had gotten a good run through somewhere, and or you got a poor run through somewhere, and I had about 9/10 of a second, and you didn't close it on the back straight, and so I thought, oh, maybe there's something there, but it just closed right back up again through front straight and the S's. So, yep, it needs to be more than a second, well more than a second.
Yeah.
Stefan, we saw you make a couple of passing moves into that last turn, that diving turn down to the start finish during the race.
Yeah, you can do that because the car isn't really traction limited right there, but it's on the edge even so. So you have to make sure that the other guy knows you're there. Thank you, crew chief, and you got to give and take. You may have to lift just a touch to make sure you get your turn in right. So you can make it work, but really all it's doing is trying to slow the other guy down, take away his rhythm a little bit, try to put him out of position a bit, and maybe find a way to make an advantage with that. It's a difficult one to make for the final because the finish line's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was a lot closer at the end than I thought it would be, honestly.
It couldn't have been far.
Yeah. Well, it was an exciting race. Thanks for putting on a great show. Darren, I'm glad you're fed. Can always count on the 3 of you putting on a great show. So I know everyone's tired. We'll let you guys get to the pub and finish off your bench racing, and Mac and I will close up here. But thanks again for putting on a great show, and we'll see you on the track next week.
Sounds
Thanks,
great.
guys.
Thank you.
Great
Thanks,
race.
Jim. Thanks, Mac.
Well, Mac, your first experience in the booth. What do you think?
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's more fun to be out on the track, of course, but still, it was interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely more fun to be out on the track, but it is a good time in the booth, and it was really great for everyone to be able to hear your perspective. You've been racing for a long time. You're also an instructor at the VRG school, and you're very knowledgeable, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed the commentary tonight.
Well, I certainly enjoyed it, and maybe some of the other guys will do that from time to time, though. Makes it more interesting for the play-by-play, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have different perspectives up here, and it gives everyone a chance to see how the sausage is made, and that's a good experience for everyone.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, well, I'll let you jump into the pub with the guys, and I'll wrap up here. So thanks again for joining tonight and saving my voice. I really appreciate it, Mac.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim, for giving me the chance.
All right,
it was fun. Good night.
All right, well, this is Jim Karamanis. We are wrapping up for the evening. Again, this is the Vintage Racer Group's Virtual Racer League. Tonight's show was the VRG Virtual Cup at Road Atlanta. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage, and we hope to see you again next week. Have a good evening.